Hey, this is Derek of OCDGonein7days.com, and this is the video that I wanted to send out to you, answering some of your questions. And I got so many questions, instead of spending 5 hours going through them all, I just decided to kind of cover them all, okay, with things that apply to all types of OCD, whether it's pure OCD or classic OCD. So there are two kinds of OCD. You got classic and pure OCD. Classic OCD is stuff that you do, like counting things or doing weird things like blinking or swallowing or other stuff like that. And pure OCD is having either religious thoughts or OCD thoughts, such as trying to put yourself into a mental scenario to try to play it out, even though you don't want to think about that thing. Most of you guys are doing this is that you're forcing yourself to think of something that has to do with your OCD in order to try to feel a different way about it. The problem with doing that is you're trying to fix an emotional issue with logic, and we know that logic and emotion don't always mix. Just like when you fall in love, that's not logical. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes the people that you fall in love with, okay, or the people that you love in general, it's just, it makes no sense sometimes logically, but emotionally it does. Okay, so OCD is an emotional thing, and so one thing you want to do is think that since it's not logical, stop trying to use logic to stop OCD, and that will really help save you from all these, garbage treatments, whether it's drugs or therapy or, you know, surgery like the gamma knife and things like that. Where there are people that swear by all this stuff, but at the end of the day, those things aren't necessary to beat OCD, and they're band-aids. And I've talked to people that have had surgery and therapy and drugs and all the other stuff, and they still suffer with OCD. Recently I had someone call me that went under the gamma knife, and they were doing really bad, even though they would not admit that. It was actually a pretty severe case, and that was after a gamma knife treatment. And so just be careful with stuff like that, and be careful with the drugs and things like that. Your brain adjusts to them, and that's why they stop working after a couple months. Almost everyone that calls me, 99.99%, whatever, they're on drugs when they call me. SSRIs and benzos and things like that, to try to treat OCD. But those are band-aids, and your brain adjusts. You keep needing to increase the dose, which increases the side effects. Then you have add-on drugs to supplement those drugs. So you've seen the commercial. Is your antidepressant not enough? Want to take another pill because the pill you're taking doesn't work? So it's just band-aids. At the end of the day, what it's about in beating OCD is understanding that it's not a disease or a disorder. It's OCH, obsessive-compulsive habits. So it's an addiction, okay? It's an addiction of the mind. It's a choice that you make every day, and it's easy to fall into. I know firsthand what addiction is like. I've had addictions, many of them, okay? And I've been able to beat them all. And how you do that is not with logic or with reason, but you have to understand that there's a feeling that you want, an emotion that you want, and the emotion is to beat OCD, whether you have classic or pure OCD. And that covers everything from religious OCD to sanitation OCD and gay thoughts and just unwanted thoughts in general. There are so many different types of unwanted thoughts. There are as many different types of OCD as there are people. So you want to keep that in mind. So at the end of the day, one of the things that you really want to do is look at I'm going to give you a homework assignment in this video, okay? And basically, I want you to, take 5 pages and write down what you want your life to be like. What you picture your life to be like, in a year from now. Where do you live? What do you do for a living? What stressors have you removed? What things have you added to your life that are of value? Stopping OCD is not about trying to fight your thoughts. That won't work. It's trying to stop your thinking about something. It's just, you're focusing on it more. Okay? Focusing on a thought to try to get a different feeling toward it is just making it worse. You don't want to do that. Don't ask yourself questions about your OCD like, should I place this here or should I do that there? Those are the wrong questions. Okay? Questions lead your thinking. Okay? So at the end of the day, you want to ask yourself questions like, what can I do today that would help me to get a raise at my job? What I could do today to improve my relationship? What could I do to improve my relationship with God, if you're religious, or improve my, own self worth in the universe, if you're not religious. Okay, so at the end of the day, what you want to understand is that logic, if you just rely on what we call logic, you're going to fail, because OCD is not logical. You know that. Going back and touching the doorknob is not logical. Dwelling on that thought that's bothering you is not logical. But you do it because of emotions. Okay? So the homework assignment in this video is very simple. Is, like I said, take 5 pages, write down in detail where you want to live. If you don't have a partner, what kind of partner you want, what you do for a living, what would be your dream job if money wasn't an issue, what kind of thought life, what kind of thoughts would you have, probably be about something toward what you want to do for a living, okay? And at the end of the day, these are the things that are going to inspire you. Have one thing that inspires you. For me, I have different stuff like chess and, making these videos for you guys and different stuff that gives my life meaning, and gives me self-worth. We all do things for a reason, and helping people makes me feel that I can sleep better at night doing that, knowing I'm helping thousands of people around the world. So write down the things that you want to do. How do you want to help people? It's not always about taking. This world is not a, someone has to lose in order for me to win kind of scenario, but it can be a win-win world where if you want something in your life, ask yourself, what am I giving? Am I just taking? Do I contact all these OCD program providers and throw guilt trips on them and try to take? What am I giving in return, in my life? Am I serving, in some way? Am I serving my family? Am I serving my church? If you're not religious, am I serving the universe, and my fellow mankind? Okay? So you want to kind of think about the wrong question is, what can I get? And how can I be my OCD and all this other stuff? But it's more about, what can I give? Okay? And that's going to help to shift your mindset so that you're not thinking so logically. OCD is not a math problem. It cannot be solved. It's not numbers written down on a piece of paper you can calculate away, because your brain keeps adding new variables. So it's emotional. So we're going to approach it on an emotional basis. So your homework in this video, just as a recap, remember this, okay? Write down. Take 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever pages. Be detailed about what you want in your life. What you want your life to look like. What you want your thought life to look like. And write down the steps that you think that it would take to get there, okay? So do that, a homework assignment, and then send it to me at myocdhelp@gmail.com. myocdhelp@gmail.com. Again, it's myocdhelp at gmail.com. myocdhelp@gmail.com. And I'd like to see your responses. Okay, and if you have stuff that's private you don't want to share, you can save that copy for yourself. And, just when you copy and paste it to me, just delete that part out in the email. Okay? So be very detailed. And again, if there's anything private, just leave that part out. But it's very important to do this. Most people talk about it. Most people talk about having a goal. Oh, I want to be this. I want to be successful. Everyone wants this stuff. No one writes it down. Taking something from your mind and writing it down, now you can look at it. Now it's real, or it started to become real. And now you've put it out there into the universe in a way. But it's not like the law of attraction where you just put something out there in thought or in writing it down or saying it in a video or recording it or whatever. But it's also about taking action, okay? You can pray all you want about stopping OCD, but that's not going to work without action, So if you're religious, Bible says, prayer without works, is dead, basically, So at the end of the day, if you're not religious, the same thing applies to you. Affirmations without backing it up with actions is dead. Okay, you're not going to get anywhere if you keep dreaming about getting somewhere. And if you keep doing the same things that you're doing, you're not going to get to where you want to be either. Look how long you've been doing OCD research. Look how much money you've spent on it, on things that are ineffective, that haven't worked and have been proven not to work. But you keep believing the hype because, if everyone's doing it, they must be right. Well, everyone used to think the world was flat, Everyone used to think that the Earth was at the center of the solar system. So sometimes you have to question what you think you know in order to beat OCD. If you're the kind of person that would argue with me but are asking for my help, just unsubscribe from my list. I will not be able to help you because you are blocking my information to you mentally already. For those of you that are ready to listen and to approach with an open mind and not bring your old beliefs to the table and try to tell me how to help you, then I can help you. But those of you that would attempt to tell me how to help you, you can unsubscribe. Your services will no longer be needed. We don't need you on the list. I need people on my mailing list that have an open mind, that are willing to go against therapy, drugs, and gamma knives and all the other stuff. That are willing to understand and embrace that OCD is not a disease, but an addiction, a habit of the mind that can be stopped. So your homework assignment, okay? Do that and send it to my email address, again at myocdhelp@gmail.com, and I will talk to you soon. All right, God bless.